This is a relay project.
Real Talk starts right now. Here's Ryan Jespersen.
Well, welcome to a very special episode of Real Talk as we observe, as we celebrate Black History Month, a Real Talk roundtable featuring some of Canada's most brilliant artists and a guy that I have known for, I think, the entirety of my public-facing or my broadcasting career. When I was getting started, he had just launched an annual celebration, an exhibition of black art across different spectrums, visual arts and performance arts, and well, it's incredible right now. I'm having an I feel old moment as Five Artists One Love celebrates 20 years in the Metro Edmonton region, which is absolutely wild. I can't wait to get into this conversation today as well, to jump into our live chat powered by Park Power and see what Real Talkers have to say, see where Real Talkers heads are at when it comes to commemorating, observing, celebrating Black History Month. It's the 30th year across Canada that Black History Month has been observed, and we encourage you to tell us your personal stories. If you're watching this after we've streamed it live, if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can send us an email anytime to talk@ryanjespersen.com. This episode is happening with the presenting sponsorship of our friends at Hanson Distillery. You can find them online all the time at hansondistillery.com. You know, the opening ceremony at Milan Cortina is going to go down just a few hours after we're talking to you here. And the entire team at Hanson is wishing Canada's Olympians the absolute best of luck. Our athletes are out there chasing gold, and the team at Hanson will be back here in Canada raising a glass of Alberta's finest to their success. At Hanson Distillery, they don't just make spirits, they craft them with the kind of national pride and precision that turns a family moonshine legacy into an award-winning distillery. Hanson Distillery is innovative spirits for thirsty souls. So let's toast a February worth celebrating. Hanson is made right here. Learn more at hansondistillery.com. What an honor it is to welcome to our Real Talk studio in the historic Mercer Warehouse in downtown Edmonton, the founder, the producer of Five Artists, One Love, Darren W. Jordan, joining us around the table here, visual artist Garfield Morgan and Lorelle Whittingham as well. It's wonderful to see you all. Are you having the same I feel old kind of experience that I'm having as we observe 20 years?
I was feeling fine until you said that. Now,
I'm sorry to do that.
Now I'm feeling old. I'm looking at the gray hair in my chin. And
I think it's you look distinguished, first of all. It's good to have you back. I remember talking to you. I think Five Artists One Love was like 3 or 4 years old when you and I first spoke about it. For people that aren't familiar with it, what's it all about?
Well, it's a celebration of the arts of Black culture, and we use a number of different artistic forms to express ourselves and to celebrate achievement and history, and give people an opportunity to share culture and tradition. And so, it basically started off as an art show. At its genesis, it was an art show, and basically that was formed out of the need for that, because at the time I remember thinking there's not a lot of, in fact, I didn't see any exhibits or galleries that were carrying work from Black artists at the time. So I partnered up with a gentleman by the name of Alex Patterson, and we started a small art show, and it just grew. After 5 years, we were invited to the AGA, and I don't know, we were off to the races at that time. It became something much bigger, and in order to even keep it going, we had to develop a music show to pay for the art show, to ensure that it's still free for people and there's accessibility. And it's just grown. It's given people so many opportunities to show their work, to collaborate, to learn how to work with galleries. So it's been a journey. It's been quite a journey.
It's a unique makeup of our Real Talk Roundtable today. We've got artists. We're going to talk to Renee Williams, CEO of Edmonton Arts Council, who will join us. a little bit deeper into the show, but a unique perspective, I think, from artists, from storytellers, from creators when it comes to Black History Month. Garfield, I want to let people know right out of the gates they can find you at Garfield Morgan Artist on Instagram. What does Black History Month mean to you as an artist? Do you approach it in a unique way or a significant way? Does February jump out at you personally over the other months?
Yes and no. It does jump out because of all of the things that are happening. But essentially, what I do during that month is what I continue to do all of my career throughout the rest of the months.
That's right.
It's definitely a time for reflection. And of course, it's a celebration. And so people want to be a part of a celebration. So you include and you invite and you share as much as you can. I'm actually quite fortunate because, it's coming 3 years that I've now been in Edmonton. So basically, I've come in on the tail end of all the hard work that people like Darren have done. So, I wasn't really in the trenches as such. Not to say that there's not much more work that can be done. And various organizations have come on board and are doing their bit. And we appreciate that. But yeah, for me, it's a time for reflection, to really allow people to come into the mix, because of course some people don't pay any attention to it unless it's Black History Month. So you just invite whomever is interested and whoever wants to know about and be a part of the celebration. And of course also it's about looking forward. Where do we go from here? How do we strengthen the movement? How do we center Black culture? How do we get people to pay more attention and be more open to listening and sharing and just being part of this.
Can I dig a bit into it? When you say it's a month of reflection for you,
yes.
Would you share maybe a couple of the things that you've been reflecting on early in February?
I mentioned that I'm coming in on the tail end. There was a time when Black artists never had an opportunity to show their work, to have their voices heard. So I'm really standing on the shoulders of all who have gone ahead of me. And I appreciate this moment. I don't take it for granted, especially knowing the history. And so, yeah, I'm not just working for me. I'm here as the beneficiary. So the onus is on me now to make the best of the opportunity and the moment, and to do the best work I possibly can do. Because it's one thing to be to be seen and heard and all of that, but one needs to put in the work as well. To take it to as far as it can go, really, and to be as inclusive as possible in that.
Lorelle, you're nodding as he's talking. I feel like a lot of what he's saying is resonating with you.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like, historically, Black artists weren't in museums or big galleries, except for like the maids and paintings and things like that. And so, with Black History Month, there's so much to remember in the past, but then also to celebrate. And I resonate with what Garfield's saying, because, we have a chance to have our voices shown and our work shown and, have a platform to like be seen. And so it's a lot, but then it's a great opportunity to just have Black voices seen. Any art that Garfield and I make is just Black art. And it's really just about having an opportunity to like talk about ourselves as individuals, our learned experience, and have that like shown in art and in a visual way.
Darren, the Black History Month, I think, is oftentimes framed, it's inherent there in the name with history,
right.
And it's often framed as looking back, right? But for artists, how much would you say is about the present or even the future? How do you approach it?
I approach it also as a time where one reflects on things that have happened in the past, our history, things that have shaped the path that we're on. But particularly with the work that I'm doing now, I'm trying to look at the future. And so, again, making opportunities. Understanding where we're from, teaching, engaging in that past with people, but also ensuring that we're always keeping our eyes on what's in front of us and what the possibility is. And so I think, to your point, Garfield, we work hard at the craft that we are engaged in. I also would say that while we're doing that, we're also thinking about uplifting other people and making a way for other people. So again, you start off in a situation where the opportunities were not there. Now the opportunities are starting to show. It's kind of incumbent on us to ensure that we're making a way for other people as well, those people behind us.
Indeed.
What's something about black art in Canada? I mean, we don't have to talk about just Canada, but something about black art, maybe Garfield, I'll keep it more general, that you think is maybe not well understood or widely recognized.
Well, that's an interesting question. There's a situation where I've heard this said that, you know, people are always looking at, for example, slavery and the implications of that. And so why is it that we're looking back always? But for me, it's not necessarily looking back, because history is now. A lot of what we call history is impacting us now. And if we even want to call it history, it's almost like a template which determines what happens now. So, I mean, when someone is looking at history and they're tying it to now, that for me is not looking back. It is really looking now. Yes. Because for me, history is now. I mean, I carry history in my being, my skin, my color, the way I do everything. It is of course, determined by, you know, all of what has happened before. And I mean, I can't do art without being cognizant of what has happened before. And it's not even as if I'm trying to reference that necessarily, but it just is.
Yeah.
It just is.
Can I jump in on that?
Jump in anytime.
Yeah, so I work in mental health. I've worked in mental health over 30-odd something years. And when we're dealing with families and patients, one of the first things you take a look at is family history. And if there's ever been any kind of trauma, if there's been any type of experience that has affected the individual that's in front of you at the time, the person that you're trying to help, it always is often connected to something that has happened in the past. So to not acknowledge that and to just kind of say, well, just get on with it, move forward, that doesn't make any sense. And I think it's like that on a much larger scale as well. When we're talking about communities and cultures, the past does have a great deal to do with where we're at as a people, just like where you are at as an individual is connected to what has happened in your family history. So there has to be acknowledgement of that. But you do have to, again, have your eyes set forward because you don't want to be inert in that moment. You have to recognize that it does affect you. The choices that you make, the directions that you go, a lot of them are stemmed from that past. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a specific future that you have to adhere to. The future is still ours, but we have to acknowledge what we've done through, what we've been through, and what we've done in the past to move forward, I think.
Darren W. Jordan, Garfield Morgan, Lorelle Whittingham joining us in our feature interview presented by Mercedes-Benz Edmonton West. I mean, what you're talking about there is a bigger concept, like a bigger reality outside of just art, yeah, or outside of just Black History Month for that matter, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We use art as a conduit to express ourselves, sometimes to connect ourselves to that history or to look at what we want to do and things we've done. Art is just a means of expressing that and also sharing those experiences as well.
People can check out, by the way, 5artists1love.com. We'll link to it in the show notes to make it nice and easy in YouTube and the podcast. You can check out, the festivities, the celebration, features on all of the artists that are participating. Lorelle, have you been featured or participated in a number of different 5 Artists, 1 Love?
This is going to be my second one.
This is your second one?
Yeah.
What was the experience like the first time in the sense of like creating awareness around your art or driving conversations, or what was it like for you?
It was life-changing, I
Really?
would say. Yeah. I had 3 works in the show, and the one that I made specifically for the show was a self-portrait mosaic out of like ceramic tile. And it was kind of like a debut for myself as like an introduction to myself as an artist. But then I wanted to have a conversation with the people viewing the art. And so I knew...
Is that the one we're looking at right now? It's
That's
beautiful, by the way.
So
People are going to be
heavy.
listening to this on the podcast. You got to watch this one on YouTube. But can you take us into it?
Okay, yes. So I feel like it's a self-portrait for myself. It's called Higher Self-Portrait. So it's me imagined as my higher self, because I feel like when I'm thinking about Black History Month or being Black, there's so much negative beliefs that are created from racism, from being othered, from the prejudice. And so all around me, I like put these tiles in like gold luster, and it's like positive affirmations, like I am powerful, my differences matter, I belong, I am safe. And so I put it in the first person so people who are viewing the work, especially the Black people attending, can like read it and believe it themselves. And you know, I'm dressed in a sari because I'm half East Indian. My mom is from Mauritius, and I have a crown of cotton plants because I'm like referencing slavery and the cotton plantations. And obviously I'm burning the KKK mask and the noose. Previous years at the AGA, there was big shows that have like mannequins of KKK members, like big robes, and I was really like frustrated about how when it comes to like Black History Month, most of the symbols of it is trauma based. You know, it's the pain, it's the oppression. So I wanted to burn it.
I love it's so powerful. It's so powerful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just real talk. We always try to be as real as possible. You know, a story that's popped up overnight. I don't know if you guys even saw it. When I saw it, I was like, oh man, I don't even want to bring this up. We're supposed to be talking about art. We're supposed to be celebrating 5 artists, 1 love. I don't know if you heard about Donald Trump's post, just hours before we're talking here. He's posted a video on his social media depicting 2 monkeys, and then at the end, Barack and Michelle Obama pop up. It's like widely being decried, obviously across the United States, and being condemned as racist. But when you talk about the racism you experience, I mean, everyone's face, for the benefit of those listening, all of your faces, you just winced when you heard it. Garfield, you don't look particularly surprised at the same time, but like, how does it, I don't mean to make light of it, but how does it land with you?
I was offered marriage, jobs, etc., etc. I refused all of it because I didn't want to be there. What is happening in the United States now, I felt that current long ago. This doesn't surprise me at all. And to be honest, I've really tuned this person out. I mean, my wife and I don't listen to the news, especially coming from our neighbors. I mean, I exist on a different frequency, and it, not only is it that it doesn't affect me, but I mean, I'm not surprised. I really am not surprised. I mean, I don't give it any oxygen, really. I just kind of move on with my life.
Mm-hmm. I can't lie. I mean, it's disappointing. It's saddening, and then at the same time, it's not a huge surprise. My response to what you just said should be a lot more visceral than it is. But
why do you think it's not?
Almost because that type of nonsense has been in the news feed for the last several years, and it's getting worse. So you hear something like that, it's almost normalized. It's like, oh, more of that rubbish.
Like my thing though is like when we're like, it's 2026.
Come on,
right? Like
yeah.
It's not 1846.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And part of me is like, kind of like what you're saying, the position you and your wife have taken on it, or where you're at. And I'll check in with you in a second, I promise. Mm-hmm. But, you know, part of it is like, don't give it oxygen. Don't mention it. This is ridiculous. This is and at the same time, it's like, you got to hit this head on. Mm-hmm. We've got to talk about it. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you see that decision?
You also have to protect your peace. So if I was plugged in to listening to this rhetoric every day, and you know what, you just can't get away from it. And I'm a curious individual. I want to know what's happening in the world. I am subject to hearing all this foolishness, but I can't shut it out completely because I need to be aware. And obviously there's still work to be done, and I'll have a role in that in my own way. But I got to protect my peace. If I take that information, I go home and I'm thinking about that. I'm working, and it's on my mind the whole time. It diminishes life, and it diminishes pretty much the way you see our society today. So we have to protect our peace. I get the information. Oh, more of this. I'm going to take that. I'll file it. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to stay there, but I'll do my part. to educate people.
I don't know that I've ever heard anybody say before, protect my peace. I love that.
You're welcome. You
I
can
feel like
use that
protect
one.
your peace should be on a hoodie or something. But how do you approach it?
There's a lot to think about. I feel I don't want to talk about Donald Trump, but I think with that tweet, with that picture, I think of like visual language and how important it is to have conversations about what people are seeing. You know, like even growing up, there was so much stereotypes, you know, around Black people. Like we like watermelon, you know, we're more athletic, we look like monkeys. So it's like, to me, it makes me think of like how problematic those visuals, those jokes, you know, that are really just racism. Like, why are we tolerating that? Why are we allowing that? And it's a problem when it becomes a problem when that's the only thing people see, you know, when they only see the tweet of monkeys, you know, as Donald Trump, or they hear stereotypes, like that becomes a problem. It others Black people, you know. It's bad. And so I appreciate when we have more opportunities to show art, like with Darren's show, because we are adding more to the visuals.
We've got a great comment here from 80s Fanify in our live chat, powered by Park Power, says this is exactly the reason why we need art and celebration.
Donald Trump is one person. He still has massive support in the United States of America. And that is really where we need to be focusing.
Yeah.
I mean, with all of what he does, he still has support. When I mentioned the undercurrent that I felt having studied there, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, he has come to the fore and he's saying the quiet part out loud. But essentially, he's saying what a lot of people continue to feel, but they just don't have the courage to express it. So he's their champion. That, I think, is where the focus needs to be.
Yeah, Justin says, look at how desensitized we are to the worst of the worst. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to talk about Donald Trump the entire Black History Month roundtable, you guys. I apologize.
So much more.
It was not part of my plan. I was not hoping to do that.
Now I'm going to leave here vexed.
You brought it up.
And I already know this is probably going to be our short. It's going to be our highlight today because it's what everybody's talking about, and you're making such an incredibly important point. But I think also, like, you know, we have a policy, Lorelle would never ask a guest how old they are, how long they've been a professional, but I think it's quite obvious you would be at the earlier stage of your career as opposed to creating art for the last 50 years. Yes. And it's interesting to hear you talk about like suppression around Black artists or racism that, and not just Black artists, Black people would continue to experience. And I think a lot of people would love to believe, and as Canadians, we're oftentimes guilty of this in a number of different ways. Like we tend to look at our American neighbors, for example, and go, like slavery, and we kind of give ourselves a pass on a lot of stuff. And maybe that attitude has changed. Well, that attitude has definitely changed as there's been a reckoning around residential schools and the like. Canadian, you know, internment, Japanese internment in World War II, and I mean, there's a long list. But I think that people that are not Black may be surprised to hear, because it's outside of our experience, that young Black people or middle-aged Black people would still have their own stories of experiencing racism or experiencing the types of things that would hold them back in their personal lives, their careers, or otherwise.
Yes. Yeah. It's, you know, it's a spectrum, like racism, the way I see it, you know, of like, it can be super violent hate crimes, but it could also be microaggressions, you know? And so I think it's more about like learning, like sometimes it feels like a dog whistle when you feel like discriminated against, but then, you know, it's like, oh, it's just a tweet, oh, it's just a joke. So it's just frustrating.
This is the idea around the art. It's more than an art show. I shouldn't call it an art show. Five Artists One Love is so much more than an art show. It's like it's a celebration
100%
of art and culture and history and so many different things. But do you have kind of like, whether or not it's a mission statement or something, but do you have almost like a mandate or an ideal experience for someone that checks it out? Are there things that you want to get people thinking about that go deeper than the art, or is it
100%? 100%. So at its core, as I said, it was an art show, and it's grown into a lot more. There's a lot more than just visual arts. But what I'm trying to do is educate the public at large that when you're talking about the Black community, it's not a monolith. It is a very complex, layered, beautiful tapestry of a variety of different cultures within that community. People need to be able to recognize that and see the beauty in that. And us as a people, we need to be able to recognize that and celebrate the differences. We don't let those differences become something that is divisive. I want to celebrate that diversity within our community. And I believe that if you invite somebody into your home and you share your food and your music and your art with an individual or a group of people, it's hard to hold animosity, it's hard to hold hatred towards people that you've shared with. And I think it's all about, a lot of it has to do with education and sharing community and culture. You do that, a tweet like this comes up, and it's not just the people in your own community that are shaking their head, it's the larger community saying that this is wrong. So we're hoping to do that. We're hoping to connect people, connect communities, teach people about our variety of different cultures.
Black History Month will be observed by individuals, observed by media outlets, observed by sports leagues, observed by cultural institutions, corporations. Like, there'll be many different ways that it's observed or celebrated. If Black History Month were designed, Garfield, exclusively by artists, what do you think might be different? Or if you were the one calling the shots, chairing the committee, what would it look like?
A lot of art. What would it look like? That's very interesting. I don't even know where to begin. Darren mentions community. How when you share, then people won't hate. Essentially, we're all the same, and we're all, aspiring towards the same end. I don't know how this will look visually, but conceptually, sharing, connectivity, openness, discussion, all those things are, I think, important. You say look, I don't know if you mean literally visual, but
no,
and truth be told, in terms of all I've just said, is how it's being approached now. So essentially, I'm not even saying anything different. It's just probably more of the same, and really continuing it beyond maybe February. So it will be a whole year of celebration.
For people that would say, why do you need Black History Month? People that would say you're always going to see a comment. Why not White History Month? Same as Pride Month. Why not straight Pride? Like, you hear it all the time. Yeah. Do you need? I mean, I guess I'm asking you to do so. I'm going to say, do you even need to argue for the importance of it? But what's the compelling case that you would make?
The history.
Or do you hate the question?
Yeah, but the history. It's trying to repair generational wrongs, which you probably can't do. It needs to be reflected on. It needs to be observed. You see, I think in terms of going forward, you need to be mindful of all of what went on. And I mean, we can't go back in the past and change things. But I think it keeps people cognizant of the fact of the history, and essentially that we don't want to be doing this anymore. And so let us observe this moment, realize where we are now, and in going forward, we make every effort not to repeat those mistakes of the past.
So, if I may, that question is that's a hot topic that comes up a lot. Why do you even need a Black History Month? Morgan Freeman was asked this question years ago and famously said, "I don't want a Black History Month. I don't need it." And he
That's pretty good, Morgan Freeman, by the way.
I do so many, but he went on to say that I don't want it. And there are some people that believe that we don't need Black History Month. and I'm talking about some people in our community. I would say that's probably a minority, but it has a place. I wish we lived in a world where it wasn't necessary. I didn't need to take time to learn about my history or anything along those lines. But that's not the world we live in. The world we live in systematically tried to erase Black history. We have been marginalized. We have been erased from our place in history. The gentleman that actually started it, Carter G. Woodson, he was a historian. He was an academic, and he realized that, wow, if somebody just rolled in and tried to look at what our position is in history, we didn't exist until the slavery. History begins for Black people at slavery, and it's all there, and everything beyond that starts at that time, and that's not accurate. That's not accurate at all. And so he actually made a point to say, well, no, we're going to take a closer look, and we're going to study and see where we were in history, and understand that moment in time where we were enslaved is just a drop in the ocean. There's so much more to the culture and history, and that we are actively and have actively contributed to society as civilization as we know it. But you don't have to go too far. It's very clear that was suppressed. Even in I'm not young, but I remember when I was growing up, I didn't know that Black people could aspire to do certain things because I didn't see it in front. It was not on television. It wasn't in media. And so you're given a very narrow view of where you're from and what you can do and where you're going to go. And that's not accurate. Black History Month and the things that are surrounding that open those doors to let you know that no. Your roots go deep. Your roots go deep. Your history is important. Your contributions to society, to civilization as a people is significant. And so I wouldn't need a Black History Month if that was the case, if that was something that I have to worry about. I know my history. I knew that people weren't trying to erase me from, or my people from, what we've done. It is necessary right now.
Was your experience similar to Darren's coming up, or is there like was there like a generational difference, would you say? Like when he's talking about his evolution of thought, like it's powerful to hear. You're not 80 years old, man. And to hear you say that, that like you didn't know this was possible, or you didn't know that was there, like that's a powerful thing to hear. That's a powerful thing for you to say. Does that connect, or how does that connect with you?
Yeah, no, I feel like it resonates with me. I feel like that's kind of the byproduct of racism, or, whatever you want to call it, prejudice, being othered, where you have those limited beliefs that you don't see it, like what can be done. And so,
can I interrupt for a second? Yeah. When you say being othered, like, can you just kind of put that into terms that anyone could understand? Because we hear it a lot, but what does that mean to you, or what has the experience been, or what does that mean?
I feel like you're not being seen as a human, you're seen as an other. So whatever conversation that relates to, like, being seen more as an animal, not being acknowledged as a person, being seen as a color first instead of, a human being who has feelings, who deserve not to be, like, hurt or put in a box, or, I feel like everyone should have the opportunity to, like, live out their dreams, their ideas, be in spaces they want to be. And so it feels like a barrier when you're pushed out without reason just because of the color of your skin. Yeah.
I appreciate you digging into that. I know it's like, I always hope that, I know there's going to be a lot of people, there will be, for example, Black artists that will watch this roundtable that'll connect at like a very deep level with what you're saying. And then there will be people that are like going to learn some, what might seem like pretty basic stuff from this roundtable. But I think that that's incredibly important as well. Garfield, I want to mention how and where your art is being featured right now as part of the Living Portraits exhibit, right? Celebrating Black artists in Edmonton. People can check out edmontonarts.ca. We're going to hear from CEO Renee Williams, Edmonton Arts Council, in just a moment.
Also,
yeah.
I currently have an exhibition at the Gallery 501 in Strathcona.
Oh, amazing.
It's a 2-person exhibition. Myself and Terry Quaylar are on exhibit there. Titled exhibition, Being and Becoming.
I'm frantically Googling it right now so people can check it out. But tell us what people will see there.
It's about identity. It's about history. It's about culture. In my work, I'm referencing the African wax fabric, which I use a lot in my work, as a means of acknowledging history. It's a cultural item that I've come to identify with, despite all the conflict surrounding it. And by that I mean the fabric originally was designed for the Indonesians, and they rejected it. The Africans embraced it, and it has now become identified with the Africans. Which is interesting because it shows you how culture and identity doesn't travel in a straight line. Here it is that this fabric has European influence, Indonesian influence, African influence, and yet it is now embraced and seen solely to be African. So that I found to have been quite interesting, and that is one of the things I incorporate in my work. Of late, I discovered my Yoruba heritage, and I've been including Yoruba iconography in my work, as a means of honoring the lineage and the heritage.
I've always been this way. Like, just to me, it's incredible hearing artists talk about like motivation and inspiration and process and all that kind of stuff. And I appreciate you sharing. It's always amazing to hear how like the personal experience translates into the public work, right? Congratulations on that and on those 2 exhibitions. And we'll continue to tell people before the end of this episode how they can check it out. We're going to get Renee in here. I want to thank you for being here. However, the worst nightmare for any talk show host is somebody after the show says, "Gosh, I wish I would have had a chance to say this or a chance to say that." So I want to make sure you have a chance to give this audience something, not leave something on the table before we say goodbye.
It's almost 3 years now that I've been in Edmonton. And since I started my art career, it's the best experience I've had.
Tell your story, man.
The Edmonton Arts Council has been phenomenal. I mean, I came to Edmonton. Within 3 months, I got an artist in residence at Harcourt House. Within a couple of months, I got grants from the EAC. I went to Vermont last year on an artist residence. I mean, it's been something. Right now, I have several things happening. Much of which, one of the things I can mention is the Sensory Festival that takes place in April of this year. And what that has done is it has put me in a space where I approach my art thinking about neurodivergent people who are partially sighted, people who are deaf, etc. So it has taken my art to a different level where I'm now not just producing kind of run-of-the-mill, but I'm appreciating the fact that there are people with issues that are going to be seeing my art. And I'm trying to now ensure that I make the art as inclusive and accessible to everybody as possible.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Thank you.
As someone who's proud to live here myself, I'm thrilled to hear that. I think, people often talk, I grew up in Calgary, moved to Edmonton, and people oftentimes talk about the differences between the two cities. And people will oftentimes talk about like Calgary's kind of corporate culture. Calgary like makes things happen for sure. But Edmonton, they talk about this like vibrant art scene. They talk about this kind of grassroots appreciation for artists. And I mean, you've got just a huge smile on your face right now.
It's my wife and I always say it's one of the best kept secret Edmonton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I may, he came from Jamaica originally, and States,
yeah.
but he came from Montreal. And when a lot of Canadians think about arts as arts hub, a vibrant scene, you would think Montreal is the place where you were going to explode. But it was Edmonton that launched this momentum that has not stopped. I am so proud as an Edmontonian to see this unfold. It's just it's an amazing story. You land here and your career exponentially moves on, blows up. Yep. So it's a wonderful story. This again, I love this city, and it's stories like this that just make me proud to be here.
It's a good opportunity to introduce Renee, because I'm sure she'll have
I
some
think
more to
so.
say
I mean,
about
she's
that.
probably just sitting there like, when are they going to bring me in? I'm ready to go. I got a lot to say. This is from Tara Lynn, by the way. She says, just wishing everybody a good morning. She's checking in on the live chat. She was listening on the Mixler live tuning audio app, but she says after hearing you guys talk, she says, I had to switch over to YouTube to experience the artistic beauty. And just in all caps, she just says, wow. Tracy says Edmontonians are such huge supporters of visual artists, big art markets, obviously constant shows, festivals all year. I mean, it's just awesome to read how artists, including you all, are connecting with people that you may never meet. Hopefully you have a chance to meet people that have been moved by your art, but just to read these comments is so very powerful. By the way, Boomshanker X says, did Darren say he works in mental health? Says, you can tell. And Cheryl outside in our live chat says, protect your peace. She says, DJ is the most chill person in real life. He resonates peace. That's a pretty solid compliment.
I'll take that. Thank you, whoever you are.
Resonate peace. That from Cheryl. I like that one. Garfield, thanks. Don't go anywhere. You can hang out in the green room, have a coffee. We'll connect after the show wraps. Thank you so much for being here. I've got so much respect for what you're doing, and your art is just magnificent.
Indeed.
Thank you
for this. Of course. Renee Williams is going to join us in just a second, CEO of Edmonton Arts Council. We're going to pay a couple of bills, and I want to make sure that our Super Bowl party is on your radar for this Sunday, friends. I'm thrilled to be returning to On the Rocks as host of their Rockin' Bowl Super Party. I know for a fact it's going to sell out. It does every single year, and I would love for you to be there to join us. On the Rocks YEG. OnTheRocksYEG.com is where you can get your tickets. $30 includes a cold beer, all-you-can-eat tailgate buffet, a commemorative T-shirt, and entry into a number of different draws that include a draw for $1,000 cash. Yeah, that's right. No strings attached. OnTheRocksYEG.com to get your tickets for this Sunday, the Rockin' Bowl Super Party, only at On the Rocks. Real Talk is proud to support the Full House Lottery. This is obviously a big one every single year in support of the Royal Alexandra and University Hospital Foundations. You can check out fullhouse.ca to get your tickets. Or, if you want to do us a solid, you can check out the link in the show notes, podcast, YouTube. I'll punch it into the live chat. If you buy your Full House tickets that way, they know you heard about it on Real Talk. Honestly, that's great for us. 4 grand prizes, including a legacy signature dream home valued at almost $2.5 million. That includes $50,000 cash, a dream haul package with a Ford F-150 and a Moomba boat. Or you could just take $200,000 instead. 2 other grand prizes, plus an early bird with more than $1 million in prizes. 31 days, 31 winners of a dream vacation. And the Big Bucks calendar is back now with a big cash winner every single day of the year. And the 50-50 extra, too. As you can tell, a ton of chances to win, all in support of the Full House Lottery, those 2 incredible hospital foundations. You can buy the tickets in person at the Dream Home, by phone at 780-424-6161, or follow the links in our show notes. You can check out fullhouse.ca if you want to see everything that's up for grabs. Albertans are winning every single day on Play Alberta's app and at playalberta.ca. You know, a winner in Sturgeon County just scored $100,000 on Cash Machine. There's literally hundreds of popular casino games to choose from, some with jackpots worth millions. Plus, a major casino winner every hour, and all revenue stays right here in the province of Alberta. If you like what you're hearing, download the app today. That's Play Alberta to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. You can check out their website, playalberta.ca. You got to be 18 or over to play, of course, and when you gamble, please do use your game sense. What a treat to connect with the team at Athabasca University yesterday. Off camera, Real Talk is thrilled to be continuing our partnership with Canada's Open University. They were blowing my mind with the reach of this online university that's opening so many doors for people that may otherwise encounter barriers to post-secondary. Maybe you don't live anywhere near a university. Maybe you're looking after your parents and your kids at the same time, or working 3 jobs just to keep your head above water. You know that there are more than 40,000 students enrolled at AU as we speak, more than 500,000 alumni from dozens of different countries. Literally over 100 countries count AU alum among them. You can learn more about how AU works, get the admissions process started, learn about the AU Advantage by visiting athabascau.ca. And our friends at Friesen Brothers want to make sure they got a couple of things on your radar, including the Family Day all-you-can-eat brunch coming up in about a week and a half at Friesen Brothers Fresh Market stores and the High Prairie store, Monday, February 16th from 8 to 4. Brunch includes a carving station. That's where you'd find me. An omelet station. Let's be honest, I'd be there as well. A French toast bake, potato pancakes, and more. $25 for adults, $20 for seniors, $10 for kids under 12. You can find out more at friesen.com/Family Day Brunch. An Italian feast coming up, by the way, on a Valentine's Day, too. Or just pop into any of their 16 locations across the province. Friesen Brothers is proudly Alberta grown and Alberta owned. As we continue our celebration of Black History Month here in the Real Talk studio in our feature interview presented by Mercedes-Benz Edmonton West, Darren W. Jordan joining us, 5 Artists, One Love, visual artist Lorelle Whittingham. And it's just a real treat to welcome to the show a very good and longtime friend of mine. She's the CEO of Edmonton Arts Council, Renee Williams.
Good morning.
Right. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you for you volunteered to lead off the show in the green room, to hang tight and to join us on the back nine, so to speak. And we got into some pretty serious stuff, some pretty heavy lifting.
Absolutely.
And I know that you are, I've known you for a long time, I think almost 20 years probably. And you are a person of great depth. And I have to imagine that there may have been some stuff there that you were going, I wish I had a microphone in front of me right now.
Absolutely. But I definitely think having the perspectives of Garfield and Darren and Lorelle sort of lead the conversation so important. For me, I was taken to a moment which not specifically connected to art, but I was thinking a lot about the future and the future generations and the responsibility that we have to empower and raise up the kids that are coming up today. I have an 11-year-old. He is mixed race. I am Black. Obviously, my husband is very, very Scottish and very, very white. And
not just white, very,
very, very white. Burns real easy. But in grade 3, my son it was Black History Month at school, and there was a student in the class that took an opportunity to stand up and say it wasn't the Black people that were persecuted, it was the white people, and had a really reversed understanding of the narrative. And so my son, and I hope it's through what he hears in our home and what he hears from our family and what he's exposed to. We take him to all of the things in Edmonton. He loves attending 5 Artists, One Love. He loves going to exhibits. And so he stood up and he pointed out immediately, there were a couple other Black kids in the class who were clearly traumatized by what was happening in the moment. And my son was like, "You've got it wrong, and I'm going to tell you
wow,
what's right."
At like 10 or 11 years old.
Oh, younger than that. He was 8 or 9 at the time. And he and it's because he's been exposed to the dialogue. It's because he's been exposed to the connection and to hearing the stories and see it manifest in art, both visual art, but also music and other things that I think enabled him to be emboldened in that moment to stand up and say, no, like it's not right. And he was able to kind of help the teacher re-engineer what that moment looked like in the room. And so I think it's that, hearing the comments of the first part of the conversation. I was brought back to that story in the green room, thinking about it's for that generation. Yeah. It's for the kids that are coming behind Darren and I and others to figure out how they exist in this world and continue to stand on our shoulders, but then to also be the shoulders that the generations behind them will stand on.
When Renee was telling that story, it was obviously resonating with you. Like you had like almost a physical response to what she was saying. How come?
Well, no, it's a great story. And I just think of, the way that kids learn is through those experiences of what they get introduced to, what they hear. And so like the fact that your son even had a voice at that time, when I was a kid, when people looked at me for Black History Month, I just wanted to hide in a corner. And so the fact that your son was like brave enough to share and tell him and correct him, like, it's amazing. So I love that story.
You're the CEO of Edmonton Arts Council. What I couldn't see your face through our glass door when Garfield was talking about, he's been in Montreal, he's been all over the place, but his career, I think he said the opportunity there was an exponential increase or growth in the opportunity that he was experiencing coming to Edmonton. I think obviously for you, you want to put that on a billboard.
Absolutely.
But like you're tasked with steering the Edmonton Arts Council and in large part, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like creating opportunities and amplifying the impact of Edmonton's arts community, growing Edmonton's arts community. What does it mean to you to hear that?
Yeah, the Edmonton Arts Council as a funder, our job is to ensure that there are investment opportunities, granting opportunities available to the wide variety and myriad of artists that we serve in so many disciplines. And so to see Garfield, he is such an incredible case study in this. I first met Garfield in December of 2024 when I just stepped into the role at the Arts Council, and he came to a meet and greet that they had for me at our shop on Churchill Square. And he introduced himself and started telling me a bit about his story. And I've been so connected to his work since then, and it's amazing to see Garfield, and he is truly a testament of what it is that we do. Apply for a grant, get a grant, and then go do incredible work. And that's really what we exist as the Arts Council to be here and to do, and to continue to make those opportunities. And we don't take it lightly. We're in a really interesting time right now. We're going in front of City Council at the end of this year for our next 4-year budget. And we've had static funding since 2022. And the city population has grown significantly. There are so many more artists in Edmonton and cultural producers. And so we haven't been able to fund them the way that we want to. And so now we've got to really make that case to council and to senior administration on why it's so significant to continue to invest in what we do as a funder.
I'm sorry for what I'm about to ask you, but I apologize in advance. If people check out edmontonarts.ca, Johnny will show it again here. Look at this. I mean, the website's beautifully done, but there's Talus Dome. You know where I'm going right away.
I sure
You
do.
know exactly where I'm going here. I think it's beautiful, as a matter of fact, right by the Quesnel Bridge, just off the White Mud. For those of you listening in other parts of the province, that's basically, Deerfoot Trail into Edmonton. It's like Highway 2 and what it turns into. It's a major kind of a freeway through Edmonton. It's a very prominent location. If I remember correctly, I think it went in about 10, 15, probably 15 years ago. I remember the outrage when people heard that it was $600,000, this art installation. And what did people start saying? People started saying, do you know how much snow clearing you could do for 600 grand? Or do you know you could drop my property taxes by, for everybody, it would have been like dropping it by $1 a year at that point, or less. It would have been like a 75-cent annual savings. But the point is, when you're talking about, your budget, you're the CEO, you got to go before council, you got to make your argument. This council is looking at like literal double-digit percentage property tax increases. People are saying it could be 30% over the next 5 years or what have you. I mean, it's a really tough assignment. We talk a lot about the politics and we get into the kind of the weeds on that stuff. But oftentimes, and I'm not saying this is my personal perspective, but arts almost seems like the toughest sell or the easiest cut when it comes to budgeting, when it comes to the bottom line, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As humans, we interact with art every single day, whether we want to admit it or not. If you like a magazine and you buy that magazine on the daily or the weekly and you go home and you like to thumb through it, that's art. When you're listening to a podcast, there is an art form there. If you like attending shows or going to experience music or performance art, like we interact with art every day. And so I like to tell people the Edmonton Arts Council helps support the personality of our city, which is manifested through art and culture. And when I think about all of the other organizations that we work with, I worked for Explore Edmonton for many years, and one of the things that we used to do to sell, it's a unique selling proposition when you go international or to long haul domestic markets or even into the US. We would leverage the very things that are created here that are part of the art and culture ecosystem to sell to people that don't know anything about Edmonton. We talk about the festivals, we talk about the galleries, we talk about the theater companies to sell to people to entice them to come here. And so it's part of who we are. It's the personality of our city, and without it, I think it would probably be a pretty gray, lots of buildings, and that's about it. And so we help bring it to life. We help create that vibrancy, and it's not for nothing, right? And so I think it's about calling that narrative forwards when we're sitting in front of council to really make that case, and bringing as many Edmontonians who both take in, are patrons of the arts, but also produce, to help tell that story as well too.
I'm going to jump in. I'm going to say it's you're right. A personality, I'd also say, is part of the soul of the city. The art, the way we express it, the multitude of different cultures that are here that have their own art forms, and they use that as a way to communicate, as a way to connect. I think that art, that is, it's part of Edmonton's soul, and I think it's very unique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like you could, I mean, if I'm looking at, I'm a big messaging guy, right? Like I was thinking about the messaging, like where's the public at? What are politicians saying? What are organizations, agencies, third parties saying? That kind of a thing. And it's always big to bring like a job creator to a city, for example. Like they're bringing this many millions of dollars. They're going to create this many jobs. This is what it means for the tax base or the bottom line. But like to have someone like Garfield say what he just said about Edmonton and then use that. I mean, you worked many, many years in tourism and promotions and economic development through the tourism industry, which, by the way, we talked about just a few days ago. The Edmonton Tourism Awards are coming up. I'm hosting them. I'm thrilled about it and talking about the enormous, and I think it's off a lot of people's radar, the economic impact of the tourism industry. That's just one example. But to hear what he said about Edmonton as a recruitment tool, right? In particular, and I keep dragging you guys back into the politics, and I drag you into the muck and mire. I apologize. But there's a lot of things that are happening in Alberta right now that are not flattering. And we wrestle with that on a daily basis. We are proudly, we call this a prairie podcast. This is a modern talk show proudly based out of Alberta. And at the same time, it's like, oh my gosh, Alberta's going to Alberta. You know what I mean? And then so to hear an artist like Garfield or anyone, artist or not, talk about how their career has exploded here, how the interest has been there, how the meaning of what they're creating feels. I mean, I'm now putting words in his mouth, but it's like, what a tool for communicating to the rest of the world what a jurisdiction can be all about or is all about, right?
For sure. And I think it's a narrative, but it's also the numbers too. In 2025, we launched our very first economic impact report, or first in a very long time. The Arts Council's been around for 30 years, so may have happened in its early iterations, but we decided to dive back into that because we had been hearing from council, we need to understand what the return of the investment is. And so whether you call it the creative economy, whether you call it economic impact, it's about $171 million annually.
Really?
Comes back into our market for economic total impact. It's about $1 to $1.45. So every dollar in is about $1.45 generated, and it's regenerative because that money then goes back into the community to create, to build, to explore, to expand, to try. And I absolutely love that. And I think most importantly, one of the pieces that kind of jumped out for me, 1,400 plus jobs created. And that's just the organizations that we serve. Our investment streams are very, very wide reaching. It's individuals, it's collectives. We just focused on the organizations for this study. And so to know that there's just under 2,000 jobs that have been created around art and culture in our city, and people are making careers in that space. So important. And so we're going to keep doing that work, so that we have the numbers piece, but also the narratives like Garfield's combined to really tell that story.
Can I ask you about something personal that someone's bringing up in the live chat that I think is very interesting? Erica says that she heard a phrase from a professor of Black history recently who said, half Black is the new Black. She says, meaning that mixed race people are the latest, most othered group. She said it was fascinating sociology. Can I know I'm getting personal. I'm asking you about your own personal family. Yeah, for sure. But can I ask you for your response to that or your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I actually think it's fantastic. So my son plays soccer and competitive soccer. He's on a tier 1 team for a club here in Edmonton, and he loves it. And there's a number of mixed race kids on the team. And to hear some of the things that have come out from other kids that they play against about, you know, skin color and skin tone. And I think you're absolutely right. And I think this actually connects deeply with your story, correct? He hears comments about the brown kid, the black kid, the kid with the hair. He's got a bit of a kid in play. You know, I'm dating myself right now.
No, but all of us know exactly what you're talking about.
He's got the flat top. Right?
One of the greatest pop culture hair styles of all time.
Indeed, yeah. But he hears it all the time. And so, you know, for me, I am very much aware, and I've always said, the world will see my son's blackness first.
Regardless.
They will see it first before they see anything else. And so it's about making sure that he stands in his truth. He stands in his peace. He stands in the same way that you've got the crown in the mosaic of yourself. He stands with the crown on his head as a king. And he knows that he can achieve and accomplish absolutely everything and anything.
Lorelle, when Renee says that that's a big part of your story, can you comment on that?
Yeah, I'm biracial too, and I feel like it was like growing up a challenge. I'm also from Calgary.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I when you said that, I'm like,
okay.
But you know, I came to Edmonton.
Thank you, Darren.
And there's such a big community in Edmonton, and I feel like, you know, my personal journey, I went to University for Art School, like just a regular bachelor's degree, so not even like a BFA. And I thought it was just something I like to do, but when I talked to professors, like they didn't really like encourage me to go for pursuing art as a career. And so I don't know, then it came to like my identity, and like, because in art school they were forcing me, like not forcing me, but I had one professor, I wanted to talk about, like, I think I called it urban isolation. I was really into looking at like Google Maps images of like random cities in Canada, and I just wanted to paint the people I see in them. And I remember I had a professor who's like, you know, you're black, so you should be making art about being black. And I feel like it was so hard because, you know, I went to the U of A, but the liberal arts campus, so in Camrose, Alberta. So from Calgary to Camrose, small town, I was definitely the only black person in the visual arts program, and I did not have the vocabulary. I didn't know even to articulate my experience. And then, you know, over the years after, I finally have the words of like what colorism is like, you know, what being biracial is like, honoring like the two cultures I have, but also I grew up in Canada, like Calgary. So it's like my mom's experience, my dad's experience is very different than mine. And so how do I honor like two cultures? How do I see myself? But then you get painted with just being black. So it's so complicated, but I feel like, you know, what Renee was saying with that crown of truth, like that's kind of where I'm at in my personal journey of like, you know, after everything that kind of feels like it's being thrown at you, the racism, the, you know, just the hurt feelings that can come from, you know, being judged, being prejudiced, you know, all of that. Like, I just feel like recognizing my truth, recognizing my power, you know, the strength that I have, like that's so important. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. This is great from Ken, bringing it back to arts funding. He says a place that is snowy, dark, and cold for half a year needs things that bring joy and light.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Maybe that's just all you need to say to your city councilors.
Right, Ken?
You
do
know?
you want to join us? Actually,
Yeah,
when
he
we go to
might.
council.
If I know anything about this audience, this is a motivated audience. He will show up. They will show up. But it's been interesting to see Edmonton do that, and not just embracing, like, you know, even what Ken talks about, not just saying sort of as art to compensate, but, you know, just capitalizing on, you know, like ice festivals, winter festivals. I think in the, what's that called? The Birkebeiner, even, like these wild, I remember covering that as a videographer with a big camera in minus 30. I'm like, this is nuts, but it's so great, and everyone pays attention and watches. And, you know, cities with vibrant art scenes obviously are, you know, the Edmonton Fringe Theater Festival came out the other day, and people just in the live chat were automatically just, you can tell there's like a pride, there's like a connection that people have to it.
Absolutely. When you're sitting in those audiences and you're experiencing something, you're sitting next to somebody that you don't know, but you're laughing, you're crying, you're enjoying what you're watching. And so It's a means to bring us together. And I think what a unique opportunity to actually talk about things like our differences and celebrate our differences with the neighbor next to you in the row that doesn't know anything. It's dialogue, it's connection. It's a way to make sure that we all can come together. And art and culture has such a unique way of bridging that intersectionality and putting it on the forefront and having us make it sort of the central part of the conversation.
Darren, you got a ton of stuff going on through this month, and I want to make sure that people check out 5artistsonelove.com. It's the number 5, the number 1, 5artistsonelove.com. You got this beautiful video you shared with us. I'm showing it on my screen right now. There's a couple of things coming up we want to make sure people have circled on their calendar.
Okay. So the thing that's coming up now, the closest thing to us is the 14th of February is our All Black Wear Gallery Affair. And it's the launch of our 20th anniversary. We will have 20 artists as opposed to our usual 5 as we celebrate this milestone. And we invite people to come down to the AGA, the Art Gallery of Alberta, and you will see some phenomenal work by Edmonton artists. They're all artists. They all reside here. They're all from the Black community, and they represent not only the diversity within our community, but they represent a diversity in artistic styles as well. And it's a wonderful evening. Show up wearing black, and you're going to be treated to some live music. You're going to be treated to some good food. So it's a vibe. I can't.
It's okay to say it's a huge party, Darren.
It's a thing.
People should know.
It's more than a party, though. It's more than
not
a party.
stuffy.
It's like
one
a party.
bit.
It's like a party at the UN. You walk in there and you will see people from all different walks of life, different cultures, and they're all under one roof and they're celebrating. They're just celebrating each other. They're celebrating art and the amazing talent that resides in this city. So we really encourage people to come out for that. We have another event. We usually do this in February as well, but we have a big music production. It's more than music. It's an opportunity to learn a little bit about Black history and Edmonton history through music, through theater, and that's usually at the Winspear. We've been at the Winspear for the last 5 years or so.
Yeah.
And it's been a game changer, and that's one of these events that sells out. We moved it to June this year. Because we wanted to facilitate something else, which is the City Project. And so to have 3 events in Black History Month was a lot. And so we just gave ourselves some breathing room, and we're now in June. So we'd love to see people there. June 14th, 5 Artists, One Love, 20th anniversary music performance at the Winspear. And you've been part of this, so I mean, it's.
Well, I remember back like doing morning TV with you.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. Yeah.
And you remember you brought on like, do you remember? I was like 175 pounds, looked amazing. No, I'm just joking. But you brought on. You would bring on the 5 artists, and we'd have like I remember we had easels behind us and art and whatever. And it's just like to me. Like, Darren, there was no Facebook at the time. Like, to give people a timestamp on how long this goes back, we didn't have live chat. People would send us emails into the... Anyway, my point is, I'm smiling. My face is hurting from smiling just thinking back on what you and all these artists have done and what you continue to do. Do you have like get a little esoteric here for a second, like 20 years from now or 30 years from now, let's say on the 50th anniversary of 5 Artists, One Love, what's something that you would hope that people say that 5 Artists, One Love helped change?
Oh, that's a great question. I would like to think that time, by that time, people are thinking about how this experience opened their eyes to the importance of acknowledging culture and tradition for yourself and other people, being able to sit by your neighbor and having some connection. I want people to think that show helped open the doors for them to learn about other cultures, to explore them, to approach and engage them to the point where they are comfortable with themselves and are comfortable with anybody, that there are no barriers when it comes to race or color, and that their hearts and minds are open to the arts and connection with people that way.
I love that. RH, by the way, you see this big red square here? That's our YouTube super chat, has just contributed $50 to the show.
Wow.
That also means that RH, I recognize that we're speaking right now at 9:39 a.m. Mountain Time, but the beer fridge is always open, and RH has just bought all of you a beer. That's how it goes. And RH says, much love from Windsor, Ontario. Thank you so much for representing. Thank you for coming on to share your experiences. Y'all look marvelous. That from RH. So big shout out to RH. And I love this from Tara Lynn, who says, a party at the UN. Says, flashback to one of the best parties I ever attended, she says, was a UN party in a Middle Eastern city that will not be named. That sounds like there's a story there. I don't know what that is. We always love to wrap, in particular on Fridays, our Real Talk Roundtables with kind of like a charge to the audience, a challenge, something to ruminate on, something to think about. Just can be a couple sentences, just maybe, as we say, sort of, 1 week into Black History Month over the next few weeks, and like moving forward forever. What's something that you think that people should focus on, people should be thinking about? Lorelle Whittingham, let's go with you first.
Goodness.
We put you on the spot.
To be honest, I'm still thinking about that question you asked earlier about like if artists can change something for Black History Month.
Yeah.
I'm like, give money to all Black people.
Yeah, we'll go back to that. This is take the moment.
No. Okay, your question was like a challenge for people?
Yeah, or just something for people to think about. Most people are listening to this like riding their bikes, walking their dogs, riding transit, driving out to the mountains. And I don't know, people, this is a contemplative audience. A lot of people will take their time, write emails into the show after they've thought about what they've heard.
Okay. I mean, I feel like we're talking about Black History Month, but it should be a conversation for everyone. That's a misconception where, although we're highlighting the Black people's experience, it should be seen and supported by everyone. So I'll challenge everyone who's not a person of color to be an ally and maybe think of ways you can be. It's not just like, oh, I have a neighbor who's Black. Maybe some of my dead friends are Black. Yeah. No, see some art, have conversations, get informed, educate yourself. I don't know. Yeah. Amazing. Think about even like I want more white people to talk about things to me about it. How can they have a conversation? It's not just about showing up, participating and taking action. Well,
like the that masterpiece of yours that we see there. I mean, that is one that demands contemplation. That is one that puts like seeing a KKK hood burning, a noose in your hand in this. I mean, that is like as powerful as it gets.
Yes.
And
it's not just things that happen in America. Like I see what's happening on Yeg Wave. So it's like it is important to have those conversations.
But what do you mean by that?
Like the white supremacist marches that I've been seeing in the city, and I don't know, there's still a lot of hate crime that's happening in Edmonton because of race. And so with my work, in that mosaic, I wanted to almost I'm creating a piece of a wall. I wanted to be part of a foundation of an institution that I wasn't allowed to be historically. So I have my motivations for Black History Month, but I want everyone to show up.
I love
take
that.
action. Yeah.
I love it. Renee Williams.
Yes. I think for me, the biggest thing is for people to get out there and similar to the Living Portraits sentiment, look, approach, engage. I want people to get into dialogue, have conversations, attend something. And you don't have to attend all the things, but attend something in Black History Month. Go and experience something and then get in a conversation with people about it. Be open to learning. And that's for Black History Month, but that's for art year-round and culture year-round. I would love people to get engaged in our local art scene and learn a little bit about it. Go experience something that you haven't before. It'll change you.
I love it. DJ, last word to you.
You mentioned Living Portraits.
I did.
We didn't talk about that.
Oh yeah, we asked Garfield about it, but talk about it. Yeah. So this is, let people know, and we'll show it on the screen here. Living Portraits. You can check out EdmontonArts.ca. We'll link to it in the show notes. But take us into what it is.
Yeah. So I was given the opportunity to curate this piece it's called Living Portraits, and basically the City of Edmonton and EAC funded this amazing opportunity. It's basically it's an installation where it talks about a lot of the things that we were talking about today. When you walk into the space in City Hall, you turn to your left, you'll see this 20-foot wall of portraits of Black people.
It's so cool.
Yeah, and you don't know what it is you're looking at. You know, you're seeing these people. They're very. It is almost reminiscent of a Renaissance painting. They're not looking directly at the camera or at you. They're dressed in a similar way. They're holding a red apple, so you can tell there's some sort of symbolism there. And the piece invites you to approach it. And when you approach it, and you go around the back, you'll see the same people, but now they're different. They're looking directly at you. They're emoting. They're not smiling. They're holding in their hand not a red apple, but a red version of their craft. If you're a poet, you'll have a book. If you're a comedian, you'll have a red microphone or a dancer red shoes. And so now you know a little bit more about these people because you've approached. And the last part of this installation is to engage. And when you look on the ground, you'll see a red apple with a code that you engage with your phone. And now the paintings come to life, the portraits come to life, and they talk to you and they share a little bit about themselves. And so that piece is basically a metaphor for standing strong against racism.
And that's in the lobby at City Hall, or like in the, what do they call it? Not the lobby. What do they call it? Like the atrium area.
It's in the
at City
atrium,
Hall.
and it's there. It's going to be there till June.
Nice.
And then we're going to have another one. So the city has made good on supporting and endorsing Black arts, and that is a game changer in terms of what they have done for us. So
I hope that there are hundreds and hundreds of Lorelles and Garfields that are able to say, in part, I mean, obviously a huge part of this, the biggest part is due to the talent and the vision, but that the opportunities that they encountered allowed them to amplify, or to deepen, let's say, the impact of their work.
Yes,
absolutely.
And there's many different directions that we could take on Black History Month. And to be honest with you, I told you this. Should we let people know we ran into each other at the butcher's counter at Friesen Brothers? That's where
It was so
good to see you, man. And we hadn't seen each other for a while. And I was telling you that we were working on this Black History Month roundtable, and I was thinking, it would be really good to get an arts voice. And then we were thinking of to get a political voice, and then we could get like an industry or sort of an economics voice and whatever. And then you and I started talking, and I was like, let's just go artists. Let's just talk about Black art and Black voices, Black perspectives, that kind of idea. And I'm just so grateful that all of you showed up today to do this. And I know that this is something that this audience, we do certain episodes where I'm like, you could listen to this, on February 6th, or you could listen to this like on August 6th, or you could listen to this 10 years from now. Yeah. And people will take something from it.
Yes.
So we appreciate you. That's Renee Williams, CEO of Edmonton Arts Council. Lorelle Whittingham hanging out with us, visual artist, featured this month, 5 Artists, One Love. Garfield Morgan, our guest as well, who's still hanging out in the green room, another brilliant visual artist. And, of course, Darren W. Jordan, founder and producer. You've been producer since the very beginning as well. 5 Artists, One Love. Thanks for doing this.
Happy to do it. We got to do this again. There's so much more.
Doors wide open.
There's so much more. I don't know. There's so many rabbit holes I wanted to go down, but I'm trying to behave because.
Why?
Because time, my man. Time. I'm not joking. There's so much more that we could discuss.
Indeed.
Well, hey, because I can't help myself. The only thing is I promised to let you guys out of here after an hour, and we're like way past that, and I hope no one's going to get fired from their jobs. But you're the CEO. What are you worried about? What is one unexplored? Sorry, I can't help myself, man. I'm a talk show host.
Let's go.
What is one unexplored rabbit hole that you wanted to go down that we didn't go down?
You touched on it a little bit as well about what your prof, Lorelle, what her prof told her that, hey, you're Black, you should lean into this aspect of who you are.
Professor.
Yeah, no, really. So so when we do 5 Artists, One Love, all the artists, they basically submit their work. Oh, it's so good. This city's talent is exceptional, but they submit their work, and we have to choose five people.
Yeah.
Once we do that, we've got a show. But I do not want them tethered to any particular topic. I tell them, yes, we're showing in Black History Month, but your subject matter does not have to be Afrocentric at all. If you paint flowers and that's your jam, paint a big flower. Paint many flowers. It doesn't have to come around and connect to, the trauma of being a Black person in the modern age. If that is something that you want to share, then you have the opportunity to do that, but you're not beholden to any type of topic. It's important that when we're talking about the arts and just living our lives, that people know that we are not beholden to that. We're more than just our trauma. We're more than just living in the modern world through a lens of, inequity. There's so much more to us than that. And I don't want people out in the world to think that when we're talking about our show, 5 Artists, 1 Love, for example, that it's all about that. It's not all about that. It's about celebrating who we are. And if you have that story that you want to share, this is a wonderful place to do that as well. But if you just want to really talk about, Garfield was talking about clothing, right, and the impact of clothing and textiles, and if that's your story, if you want to explore that, we will give you an opportunity to do that. I just don't want people to feel that they have to be pigeonholed into the type of expression or the narrative that they have to tell. That's something that happens a lot. Yeah. And so, again, it's on us to make sure that we are making opportunities for people to tell whatever their story is. And you were talking about your son. Another reason why we do this is because kids need to see themselves in excellence. Yeah, they need to walk into a room and look around and see people that look like them that are doing great things. And we're talking about Black History Month, so in this context, it's our community. But I would see that for any community. If you're Vietnamese, if you're Ukrainian, if you see somebody that looks like you or that has your history, your culture, and you see them doing great things, you can aspire to great things.
Totally.
Right?
That was my favorite part, like with the show, the 5 Artists, 1 Love show. My first debut, it was first time in a gallery, and seeing the people interact with the art was so special. Yeah. Like I never saw so many people, like people are taking pictures with my light sculpture, people are posing in front of the mosaic. I have a video of a woman just like doing like peace signs and like next to me burning the KKK mask. So, but it's so special because once you make art, once it's out there to the world, and it's so important to have an opportunity to like showcase your work because not a lot of artists have that opportunity. But once you put it out there, it becomes its own thing. It has its own life, and like, you don't even know the magnitude.
No. And if you don't see it, if you can't find it, if you don't find that place, you can't find the scene, or there is no scene, you make a scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's on us.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that scene.
Yeah.
I'm grateful you said that. Yeah. If I know anything about a good conversation when it comes full circle, it's the perfect time to wrap. Leave people with something to walk with. Thanks for doing this. Got just a world of respect for you guys and what you're doing. And thanks for making time for us here on a very important edition of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Real Talkers, you can let us know what you think to talk@RyanJespersen.com. This episode of Real Talk is happening with the support of our incredible friends at Solar by Kuby. Kuby Renewable Energy. You can find them online at kuby.ca. That's KUBY.ca. This is a perfect time of year to start thinking about solar. And I know that because it's, not 30 degrees, not 30 above, you're not thinking of solar panels right now, but that's what the smartest homeowners in Alberta and BC are doing. And Kuby's 2026 installation schedule is already filling up. By reserving your spot now, you ensure you're at the front of the line for peak summer production season. Kuby's white glove service relieves the burden of scheduling inspections, applying for permits. Their team of in-house engineers and certified electricians really makes that solar journey stress-free. Don't wait for the summer rush. Visit their website at kuby.ca today to request a free quote. Kuby is solar simplified and people-powered. Our friends at North Road Investment Council are talking on a daily basis to established professionals, business owners asking the big financial questions like, should I pay myself in dividends or salary? Should I put savings into my TFSA, my RRSP, or just leave investment inside my corporation for my eventual retirement? Or is maybe there another option that my current investment advisor hasn't even brought to my attention? That's what they do every single day at North Road Investment Council. A look you deserve, I would say, to take a look at the IPP. This is this individual pension plan. If your business is earning greater than $200,000 or more annually, if you're over the age of 40, the IPP is a powerful retirement strategy that can provide higher tax-deferred savings over RRSPs, but it's not for everybody. So the team at North Road has a clear, plain language white paper on their website. You can reach out to them at northroadic.com if you'd like to check it out. That's where you'll find Marshall Carey and the team at North Road Investment Council. Real Talk is proud to support the C.K. Huey Heart Institute. The Heart Center at Royal Alexandra Hospital Foundation is just an incredible asset for Western Canada when it comes to healthcare. February is Heart Month, and a time to recognize how far cardiac care has come and how many lives it continues to change. At the Royal Alexandra Hospital C.K. Huey Heart Center, teams are delivering care that's minimally invasive and maximally effective, which means that patients are recovering faster with less trauma and with better outcomes. From advanced imaging, early diagnosis, to complex procedures that are done without open heart surgery, which is huge. This is cardiac care that is designed around the patient. And right now, friends, your support can go 3 times as far. For a limited time, every gift to cardiac care at the Royal Alex will be tripled thanks to matching donations, helping reach more patients sooner. This Heart Month, don't miss the chance to make your impact count. Learn or give more at givetocekhui.org. That's HUI, or check out royalalex.org. California Closets has been helping thousands of Western Canadian families get organized, add to the value of their space, and of course their enjoyment of their space, which is, by the way, a really underrated investment. Strikes me that a lot of people improve their homes, give it that fresh coat of paint, maybe put in the new custom closet right before they're trying to sell it. Why not do it now and enjoy just the absolute simplicity, the peace of mind that comes with truly getting organized? Custom closet system solutions for the entire home is exactly what California Closets does, including garage storage systems, and it all starts with a free consultation. Chat with the designer, talk budget, talk space, talk nuance, and of course then you can get started from there. That free consultation, you can book it today at californiaclosets.ca. And I want to draw your attention to UCAN Youth Services on Instagram. You'll find them at UCAN Youth Services. There's this wonderful video. They recently posted a thank you video. It's the first one you'll see. They closed out the 2025 year by doing a bunch of, we would call them kind of like these streeter type interviews, quick interviews with UCAN grads, young men and women that have gone through that program, the kind of ready to work training programs, the Verto program, the Road to Work program, and they're now entering the workforce, and they're talking about their career goals. They're talking about the confidence that they're experiencing, maybe for the first time in a long time, maybe for the first time ever, as a result of participating in UCAN's programs. You want to talk about powerful testimony? This is where you'll see it. These are young people that are stepping off of a path toward harm's way and onto a path toward economic independence. It's incredible stuff. You can learn more about the programs and even opportunities as an employer to hire UCAN grads in entry-level positions by visiting their website. That's ucan.ca.
Great combo today, Ryan.
Look at all these incredible contributions in
People
our live
already
chat. Ms. KD, $10, supporting Black artists. Meta Modern says similarly inspired, incredible guests. Ken K with $20 in there says keep supporting local artists. Cheryl says one love to this panel. $20, you guys, amazing. Hey. And Ms. KD says also happy birthday. What is it? Bob Marley's birthday today? What? Do Bob Marley and Gord Downey have I've held off on mentioning Gord Downey. Bob Marley birthday? Are you kidding me? It is February 6th. Yeah. What? And Gord Downey birthday? Let me just fact check. February 6th. The two, in my own personal life, the two probably, with apologies to Tom Petty, probably, honestly, my two favorite performers. I had no idea.
Are you trying to do like a Seinfeld black and white cookie episode here?
I don't know. I'm not trying to do anything. I just did not know. And Miss Katie, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was Bob Marley's birthday. I didn't know Gord Downey's. Oh my gosh, incredible stuff.
But amazing convo today. I'm going to rewatch it myself. I often, kind of skim through the best parts of the show. I'm going to watch that all back because, Black History Month is one of my favorite months. It's not lost on me that, everyone knows my side hustle as a DJ. My success in that area is I mean, it's not up for debate. North American culture, whether it's art, music, theater, I mean, Black artists have given us the majority of it. The only other community I would say that gave us more or the same amount is the gay community. And it's so crazy to me. It's ridiculous to me that these two sections of humanity are marginalized and dismissed and gate kept from, sections of power and stuff like that. And it's just ridiculous to me. So I've always been an artist. Like, I'm not an artist. I'm kind of like looking in the window. I'm on the window still looking into the art culture. Because what I do, I don't make music. I pay homage to it. I repurpose it is what I would say, right? But it's not lost on me that the majority, like North America, Canada, the States in general, would be so boring without Black culture, Black music, Black community, the LGBTQ community, the theater, movies, music. Every type of music was created by Black artists. If you go back, it's not up for debate. So I'm going to go out to some events this weekend. I've got a weekend off, which is crazy. I'm going to meet you at the Super Bowl party on Sunday. But I'll report back about some places. I always go out and check out all the Black art and community events that are going on. So I'll report back. I don't want to overshadow the events we mentioned today. But it's an awesome month. Get out there. Give your money to Black art, Black artists, because they are responsible for like every enjoyment you're having that relates to music and art for the most part.
Yeah, well said. Tara Lynn says, what a wonderful episode. Says, I'm so happy I came in for the live episode. Tara Lynn, we're grateful to have you here. She says, I'm even more happy. She says, more behind on my to-do list. She says, but so worth it to sit on the live energy of this panel and the amazing chatters as well. And I saw something, I wanted to read this from Cassandra. There's a lot going on in the chat here, but Cassandra shared a very powerful story. She says when she lived in Red Deer in the 1980s, she says the KKK used to advertise meetings on an old wood telephone pole on the side of the highway near her house. She says that type of racism is definitely not exclusive to the United States. A powerful comment from Cassandra. Thanks to everybody, Goramut as well. I see you in the live chat encouraging people to like the show and to share the show, and I sure appreciate that. Just talking about what you've taken away from it, says great guests for a great show and a great month of recognition. We appreciate your support there, and again, I'm just really impacted by what I'm reading here in the chat. I appreciate that.
That's great, eh?
Yeah, you can send us an email anytime to talk@ryanjespersen.com. Share your personal stories. We're about to get to a bunch of emails where people are not exactly sharing their personal stories.
We're teeter-tottering from positive to negative.
Sounding off. We're going from positive. Well, but also some real reality checks. I mean, like, I'll be honest. I didn't want to talk about Donald Trump during this roundtable, but I think that's probably some of the most important. That's probably one of the most important angles of the whole talk.
I mean, it's not up for debate anymore that this is just, it's out of line. Like, not for a president, for anyone to post something like that. Yeah. But let it empower you. Let it jack you up this weekend to go out and support Black artists. And then on Sunday, we got the Bad Bunny Bowl. We're going to support Latin America. Like, just let it empower you to do some positive things. I really did like that you brought it up today, but at the same time, Like let it propel you to do good things. Let's not,
Well said. Well said. Friends, let's do this. Final episode of every single week. Courtesy of our friends at the DQs of Northwest Edmonton and Sherwood Park. We roll out the red carpet for your hottest takes. These are real emails to talk@ryanjespersen.com. It's the Flamethrower, presented by the DQs of Northwest Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Jonathan writes in after my conversation with Tasha Carradine on whether or not Canada needs nuclear weapons. Jonathan says, your discussion on nukes, Jespersen, was so unserious that it certainly was not real talk. It makes me wonder how other topics, since I know military issues very well, says Jonathan, that you are unserious about. I sometimes trust you to be in the know, but clearly you are not, says Jonathan. I don't know why you didn't actually get someone relevant to talk. Your guest is no expert in national defense, strategic leverage, or international power. It was comical. He says, I know General Iyer personally. That's the retired general that said that Canada should entertain the idea of going nuclear. says he was an outstanding Chief of Defense Services, CDS, commanded U.S. military forces as well as Canadian. He's a well-respected general. Unfortunately, our current CDS does not have that respect with our allies or NATO partners. She is seen as a DEI hire by Trudeau. Oh, Jonathan, how quickly you expose your poison. Jonathan says, now I don't want to go play-by-play, but here is essentially Jonathan's play-by-play on everything he thinks that I missed. Says there's a difference between strategic nuclear arms and tactical arms. 2, Canada has a very strong nuclear science base. What we lack is delivery of strategic launches. 3, if elbows are up, why wouldn't we be willing to use all available weapons to ensure our sovereignty? This guy's obviously fucking bonkers, right? 4, you mentioned agreements we've signed. We can walk away from those if they're in our national interest. And number 5, the jokes around Canadians don't have sophisticated weapons. Says this shows your lack of facts. You talked about how history will judge, but if you remember when Brian Mulroney was PM, there was a move for nuclear subs. Chrétien came in, canceled the project, but nuclear subs are the only naval asset that can secure the North. He says we failed to invest in the 80s and now we have no control over our North. Chrétien and the Liberals failed future generations, much like the current generation of government will fail the future Canadians if they don't seriously and strategically think about the benefits of nuclear weapons and a seriously lethal armed forces, not a 300,000 voluntary civil defense force based on the civil service. Point being, there may be many counter arguments, but your unserious real talk was not it. If you want to win awards, Ryan, be serious about serious topics. Jonathan, thanks for your email. How about this one? From Joe from Airdrie, who says, earmuffs, kids. He says, now, I know this isn't going to be a popular take, and by the way, I don't love this email, but I'm going to read it, Joe. He says, can we all admit that the reason anybody didn't know about these kids, these 3 kids that were killed in a crash in southern Alberta, you know what, actually, I'm making a judgment call on the fly. It's too soon. It's not the right time. Joe from Airdrie, you'll agree with me, won't you? I reserve the right in the moment to make a judgment call. It's too soon to be talking about it.
I've never seen that happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, it's way too soon. It's way too soon. Joe from Airdrie, we'll get back to you. Mike says, hey guys, on Gavin McKenna, the hockey prospect, it's favored to go first overall and just allegedly punch somebody out at a bar for calling his mom a really nasty name. What are you guys talking about on the show, says Mike. If Gavin McKenna ordered a teammate to hit this moron, that'd be 1,000 times worse than doing it himself. And an 18-year-old man is a grown man? Really? I mean, Mike, technically, yes. He says, but dude, remember back to when you were 18, would you consider yourself a grown man back then? What a bad take. That from Mike. Dude, when I was 18, I was the most immature clown you've ever met in your life. How about this one from Andrea, who says, guys, I love your show. The insight's typically great, but that part about Canada being willing to be taken over, very American, dead wrong. She says, what I'm seeing around me, she says, I want to clarify. We will never fold, says Andrea. We would be blowing up dams and power plants and roads, even if we died doing it. America could roll its big army over us, but they would never hold us. She says anybody who grew up in any small town in this country knows what I'm talking about. Anybody who knows me would say and recognize, yeah, I'm a pacifist. But let me tell you, says Andrea, I would die before I let the army conscript me and send me off to shoot somebody in a different country who never hurt me just because their government is fighting with our government. Andrea says, I don't want nukes, and I would never want our last act to be to kill civilians and children in a foreign country. She says, but I would also die for this country, and I would never give up if we were invaded, and I'm not alone. That from Andrea. People are fired up right now. And this say something else. And this one from Marianne, who says, Jespo, I'm writing you right now from Ixtapa, Mexico, where we're avoiding the snow. She says, but I've been doing my best to keep up with your shows. She says the heaviness has been starting to get to me with everything happening in the world. And then I see some of these ridiculous comments that are sent in to you, like we need ice in Canada. It just adds to the heaviness. She says, but then you have an interview with Blaise Bomer, the guy that basically helped get you fired, and you guys seem quite friendly, because we are. And she says, and I recognize that as a society, there's still hope for open, honest, respectful discussion. She says, but then you and Johnny, in your conversation recently, were comparing the atmosphere in Alberta around separation to be similar to COVID, regarding how divisive and polarized every day is becoming. And when you were describing your surprise at a beloved childhood friend signing the separation petition, Marianne says it really struck a chord with me. She says, I too have a varied background of friends and family, and at times we're very opposed to each other on certain subjects. And COVID brought this out, and it made me very reflective. But then I just sat down and evaluated things. What relationships are so important to me that I don't ever want to have any issue wreck them? I identified those relationships, and I communicated that to those people. Look, man, she says, you're so important to me. COVID is not going to take you from me, too. It's relationships. Now, some people I could give a shit about, she says, and that's probably reciprocal, but that's really helped me navigate COVID and now the separation bullshit. That Alberta Prosperity Project has interrupted enough in my beloved country. It's not going to take my brothers and my nephews too. Fuck that, says Marianne. They're going to be around a lot longer in my life than this ridiculous, delusional Jeff Rath bullshit. Marianne says, anyway, the only ice we need right now is more for my drink because it's really hot down here in Ixtapa. Have fun, she says, over the weekend. She says, congratulations on the Real Talk Pond Hockey Classic and keep on keeping it real. That from Marianne, who wrote in from Mexico to talk at RyanJespersen.com. You can do the exact same thing if you need to blow off a little steam or you want to follow up or further something you heard on the show. The Flamethrower is proudly presented by the DQs in Palisades, Nemeo, Newcastle, Westmount, and Baseline Road. When you pop in to pick up a Flamethrower signature stack burger and I'm going to say, Smarties Blizzard this weekend, typically go score. Like to move it back to Smarties every once in a while. You make sure you let them know that Real Talk sent you. We're back on Monday with Supriya Dwivedi. In the meantime, make it a great weekend, friends. I hope to see you at On the Rocks for the Super Bowl party. Keep on keeping it real.
Real Talk is hosted by Ryan Jespersen, executive producer Josh Dunford, technical producer John Hicks, general manager Katie Cook-Chivers, account coordinator Lawrence Derlego, human resources Lena Shepard, website design Mike Johnston, voiceover by me, Carrie Skelton. Real Talk's editorial board is Supriya Dwivedi, Ahmed Ali, Brandy Morin, Ann Castleman, Corey Hogan, Harman Candola, Catherine O'Neill, and Chris Henderson. Member Emerita, Julie Rohr. Real Talk is recorded in Edmonton, Alberta on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral territory of the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, and Nakota Sioux, home to the Métis settlements and the Métis Nation of Alberta.